Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast. I'm Rose, and I'm a content creator going by the handle Cheap Lazy Vegan, and I also own a vegan cafe by the same name as the podcast, which is SaVeg Cafe.
And I'm Daniel, also a vegan, and one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends currently living in different countries, and we'll be giving our savage take on all things life, veganism, and the latest trending topics.
So basically, whatever comes to our minds, because we love to talk.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. Okay, here we go. It is episode number 5, everybody. Holy mother of Christ. Can you believe it is episode number 5?
We were crushing them out like they're candies.
What? This is the second one we're uploading, or we are recording today. So we might be like, I feel like, our guards are down. How do you say this?
Yeah.
We're loosened up.
Or we might be... we're loosened up, but also we're a little bit delusional from all the talking.
Yes. So we've already just talked for like well over an hour, and we're going to do it again.
Round 2.
Round two.
I mean, what's...
Of our favorite activity.
I was going to say, it's a skill that we're both good at, Rose, is talking. Even if it's complete nonsense, just literally talking for hours and hours.
All right, guys.
So do you want to introduce this one?
Yes. All right, you guys. So this is episode 5, as we've mentioned. And this time we're going to do a little fun episode because I feel like we haven't done like a fun little silly episode for our podcast.
We've been very serious.
We have, although we did do a fun little silly episode for our Patreon only first episode. And it's kind of similar to this one where we tell stories, but that one is going to, but that one on Patreon is about our worst dating stories. So if you guys want to hear the tea, okay, if y'all want to hear some kind of crazy ass dating stories, then go to our Patreon. And if you support us, you can listen to that and plus extra episodes in the future, bonus episodes. Anyways, today though, we're going to do another fun one because what's another thing we like to do, Daniel, other than talking?
Well, as many of you know, our second, actually probably our first favorite activity, even before talking, is drinking.
This is not good. And the funny thing is we literally just recorded an episode for the new year to motivate people to, become healthy and fit and all this kind of good stuff. And now we're recording a podcast about our drunken experiences. Yeah.
Well, and I think the thing is, we did talk about at the end of the New Year's motivation podcast is life's about balance,
Is this
and
balance,
we like
though?
to. Well, I don't know, actually. I think we tend to burn the candle at both ends,
We go a little extreme on a lot of different things, and drinking. I mean, for me, I feel like I've gotten much better. I'm not sure about Daniel.
Oh, you're so much better now.
Yes, I've become much more tame. Daniel, on the other hand, I feel like you've gotten crazier.
I think that I definitely have.
So when we... Okay,
well, no.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I think I'm starting to get a bit better, but it's like a slower. I've reached my peak, and now I'm slowly coming down.
Very slowly, though. You're still kind of, up there. Yeah. Anyways,
true.
So one of the things that Daniel and I like have in common is that we both really like the beverage, the alcoholic beverage. Unlike a lot of vegans, do you find that a lot of vegans don't drink that much, and we're like the only ones?
It's true. But you know what I think it is, though? I think it's not necessarily, I mean, yes, we do like a drink, but like for me, and I'm sure, I feel like it's the same for you, it's not really the drink itself, it's the social element of it.
But why do we take it so far then? It is also the drink. It comes hand in hand. Yeah. So, I mean, I think what you're saying is, for example, I don't really drink by myself. Like it's very rare that I'll have like a drink by myself. I might sometimes have like a glass of wine. Like for example, before Christmas, we had a bottle of wine open and I had a little glass, but that's pretty much as far as I'll take it when I'm alone. So it's not that we are like actually physically dependent on alcohol, but I think we're pretty socially dependent. What would you say?
Yeah, no, socially for sure. Because I was going to say another thing too. Like it's the same for me. Like if I'm by myself, like I literally have never just sat in my house and got completely wasted off of by myself.
Do people do this?
The only time I
think if you do that, that is kind of considered a problem.
Yeah, like I think there's definitely people that do that.
Yeah.
And like if you are one of those people, then maybe you should consider,
AA.
getting some help or something. Yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, the only time I ever get like that, and I'm not saying the way I drink is good either, because it's probably not.
It's not.
But
None of this is
I just
good.
don't have an No, it's true. I just don't have an off switch. I can, like, every time I'm out, like, I just like to have a good time, and I'll start drinking and the drinks will be flowing and I'll be partying and like having a good time.
Are we trying to mask
something,
Daniel?
Maybe.
Oh God.
I don't know.
Anyways, so we've been drinking. So basically where we live in Canada, you can start drinking from the age of 18. So, I mean, I was drinking a little bit before that, illegally speaking. Yeah. Okay. But I know I was above the law. Dang. What is it called? Above the law? Is it? Yeah. Anyway.
No.
So
not above the law.
It is above. I was living above the law. Is that what it's?
Oh, true. Okay.
I think. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Anyways, look at us trying to, anyways, whatever. So, and then me and Daniel met when I think we were 19. And as soon as we met, we went partying, and that's how we bonded.
That is, we went to Thursdens, as we mentioned in the previous episode.
And what is Thursden, Daniel?
Again, is a place. It's our uni bar that on campus at University of Calgary that had, at the time, I don't know what it is now, but like at the time, ridiculous drink specials. And just imagine you get a bunch of like students in a bar together with like, $8 for like a triple. People get drunk.
And so the bar was called The Den, and on Thursdays would be student night. So on Thursdays they would have like really, really, really cheap drinks, which, you know what, this is actually a good segue into my first drunken experience, or not my first drunken experience, my first story that I'm going to tell on this podcast.
Okay.
We're going to ease you right in, guys. We're going to ease you in. We're going to start off with the light one. So Daniel and I, we like to go to Thursden because, again, cheap alcohol. And, we like to have a good time. So this one time, I think you were there actually. We were in, the Den, and we were partying. And again, they have triples for very, very cheap. So triples for like $8, ridiculous. They give you these giant jugs and they fill it up with so much like filler, like, so like they'll give you obviously like 3 shots, but like so much like juice or Coke or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously it's probably to like make sure you don't get like absolutely hammered really fast. But of course we still got super hammered. Anyways, this one night I had my choice, my drink choice at that time was vodka cranberries. Okay. So, do you know which story?
I know this story. Yes.
So I was drinking vodka cranberries all night long. I definitely had problems. Okay. So I was probably drinking, I probably had about 2 or 3 of those, and I was absolutely hammered. And I think I somehow got a ride home, and I was, living at my parents' house at the time. This room right here that you see I'm recording this podcast right now in my childhood room. Yes. Okay.
Oh.
So, oh my gosh, my earphone. Hold on. So anyways, I got absolutely wasted. I came home and I fell asleep, whatever. It was fine. I was like, I had a good night. There's some parts where I don't remember, but it's all good. And then 1 or 2 days later, my dad comes into my room and my dad says to me, Rose, can you go outside? I was like, what? What do you mean go outside? He's like, just go outside the front door. So I went out. I didn't know what he was talking about. Okay. And I can't even say it. I went out the front door. I opened the front door, and beside the front door, on the kind of wall of the outside wall of the house, there is a giant red mark. And what is that red mark from, Daniel?
From projectile vomiting on the side of the house.
And why was it red, Daniel?
Because of the cranberry juice? Oh my God.
Oh God. Seriously.
Honestly, the stuff that we put our parents through.
Oh my God. I probably
like
caused them so much stress. Like genuinely. I would not want my child to behave this way.
I know. I remember my parents would be like, because I would go out pretty much every weekend when I was in uni, and I worked on the weekends, and it would be like a Friday night, and I was like getting ready to go out, and my parents would be like, don't you work tomorrow? I'm like, yeah. They're like, so you're going to go out? I was like, yeah.
Oh God.
Like,
yeah.
And they were like, They're like, you're older than you're old enough to know Daniel, to know better, Daniel. You should be more responsible.
Like,
I was like,
what?
come on. I was like 20 years old. Like, come on.
Oh God. I remember one time my dad or like my mom, like my parents basically said to me, you know, if it wasn't for the drinking, you'd be like a very good daughter or something like that. Like basically what they were saying was everything is fine with you except for your drinking.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of truth to that statement.
Yeah. Well, you've gotten so much better though, Rose. You're not like that.
Well,
like that
I mean,
anymore,
at the age
you know?
of 31 now, I hope to have gotten a little better from 21. God damn.
Yeah, true.
But I mean,
true.
I mean, Daniel, I passed the baton on to you. You tell your drunken story.
Okay. Well, so thank you for passing the baton on to me, Rose. I think again, I don't know if it's easing anyone into this. And actually, embarrassingly enough, this happened this year. So in the ripe old age of, well, actually, it would have been right before I turned 31. So it was earlier in the year. I was 30.
Right. Oh Lord.
Doesn't make it any better.
Not really.
Yeah. So no, not at all. So basically at work, one of my good mates at work was doing a pub crawl with a bunch of his friends in like an area called Greenwich in London. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. Like it'll be really fun, like weekend activity. It's close to where I was living at the time. So I was like, perfect. So we go out and we started, I know it's bad. We started early. So I think we were like started drinking at like 3 p.m. and we were just hitting up like a bunch of different pubs. And at each pub, you know, having a drink. And I thought, you know, I was doing quite well. And then I think it was around 10 o'clock. I literally don't really remember anything. Apparently, I was like told, no, it was closer to 11, sorry. And I was basically refused entry to the last place that we went because I was just a little bit too intoxicated. And luckily, this place was really close to North Greenwich Station, which is literally one stop from where I was living. So I was like, perfect. I mean, in my drunken state, I was like,
stop, right?
I'll go take the tube.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, one tube stop. So literally should have been on the tube for maybe 2-3 minutes. So I get on the tube and I tapped my little Oyster card. I don't remember any of this. I just remember like literally I woke up in the morning the next day.
You don't remember actually getting on the tube?
No.
Okay.
Nope. I don't remember taking the tube at all.
Oh, God.
I remember waking up. I know it's so bad. I remember waking up in my flat being like, oh, that was a big night. I'm feeling a little hungover. And then I looked at my Oyster card. You can see like when you tapped in and tapped out of places. And I was like, well, that's weird. I tapped in at 11:30 at North Greenwich Station, and I tapped out at Canning Town Station at 3 a.m.
Canning Town Station is your station, right? So the station that takes you to home. Okay. So wait, what is that time difference, Daniel?
So that time difference was like 2.5, nearly 3 hours on the tube. So I must have passed out on the tube and gone back and forth for a while.
3 hours?
For like 3 hours before I regained consciousness. This is so bad. Before I regained consciousness.
Oh, God.
And I still don't remember it though. So I was still blackout drunk when I regained whatever, knowing what I was doing. Because then I left at Canning Town Station, went to my flat. But again, I don't remember doing that either.
So you don't remember the end of the night at all. You just woke up in the morning.
No.
Yes. So guys, by the way, I hope this episode inspires you to have a good relationship with alcohol. This is definitely not glamorizing alcohol, because I think when you hear these stories, you'll realize how embarrassing it is. And
exactly. These should be more like these nights are more of like warning of what not to do, because like
it's
honestly,
too much.
I look back and I'm like, oh, it is too much. Like, well, I mean, I didn't really talk about it, but it's like, that's super dangerous as well.
Is.
Like I could have easily been robbed.
Totally.
I could have been like attacked on the tube. So,
oh my God, it's actually
these are not
scary.
Situations you want to get yourself into.
It's actually scary when you think about it, because when you black out drinking, it is actually scary because you wake up and you're like, how can I not remember this night? Now, I know there are people out there that don't black out. And like, I think it just depends on the person. Like how much you black out. I always black out if I overdrink, like almost always, or like I always have issues with my memory.
Yeah, I never used to until I turned about 23, 24.
Yeah, I remember you never blacked out before. And then when you got a bit older, you started blacking out all the time.
I know, it's so bad. It was like all of a sudden now it's like I'm always blacking out. Like not always, not so much now, but like if I drink too much, I will black out.
It's such a bad feeling though, because you're like, what did I do? What happened? I could have like, there could have been something bad that happened to me. But anyways.
Exactly.
So yes, guys, please drink responsibly. Please do as we say, not as we do.
Exactly.
Oh God, that was pretty.
Do as we say, not as we do.
We can laugh about it because nothing bad happened to you. That's the good thing about all of these stories is that like somehow we managed to survive through all of these instances.
Yeah.
Lord. Okay, let's see what another story that I have.
Let's hear one from Rose's vault.
It's actually so bad, you guys. We actually had major issues. Do you think it's like because like Calgary's boring? Can I just blame it on Calgary for a second?
I mean, I feel like you can't because not everyone is like us in Calgary either.
We are out of control. We were out of control.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's so many. And I'm trying to ease in, but there's nothing that's like, an easing in kind of situation. Actually, okay, no.
That's what he said.
Another public service announcement. Please be careful when getting drunk. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's actually really like dangerous stuff that we put ourselves through, right? Okay. So one time when I was living when I was in university, I did an exchange, a study abroad program in Italy. So I was living in Milan for 6 months, and this was probably one of the wildest times of my existence. So
yeah, I think this was you at your craziest.
Yeah, so I have some crazy stories during this time that I am not proud of, and it's actually very dangerous because not only am I getting blackout wasted, but also I'm in a foreign country where I'm not fluent in the language, and yeah. So I guess I'll tell this story. I have a lot of stories in Italy. So I'll tell the one where I was traveling. So when I was living in Italy, I did a lot of traveling outside of Italy because we're in Europe and, it's easy to travel. So this one time, my friend Kyle, who's also another gay man, my friend,
you have so many gay friends. I do.
I really love, like, what do they call me again?
What is it? What's the word?
It's kind of offensive.
There's a word for it, isn't there? Oh, fag hag.
Yeah, fag hag. That's really offensive. You know what? I didn't make this up, guys. This is part of the gay community language, isn't it? So,
but I would say that you're not because you also have a lot of like other friends as well. If you just surrounded yourself with gay guys, then people would be like, you're a fag hag because like all your friends are gay.
So a fag hag means a female that only has gay friends.
I think so, like pretty much. Yeah.
Anyways, I have a lot of gay
I don't actually know.
friends.
I'm not down with the lingo.
Anyways, well, I just have a lot of, you're right. I just have a lot of friends and some of them are gay. Okay, normal. But somehow I really get along with like gay guys. Like we just connect. Anyways, so so Kyle and I, we were traveling, we went to Vienna, and Vienna is in Austria. And after Vienna, we decided to fly out of Bratislava, which is in Slovakia. So Vienna and Bratislava are very close to each other. So I think we took a bus to Bratislava just for that last night. And everything was kind of closed and it was kind of like a smaller city. So we went out for dinner and then we came back to our hostel, and our hostel had a bar that was downstairs. And it was a pretty cool bar. It was like a little cave, and it was open till 4 a.m. So we're like, sweet, let's get wasted. Actually, we didn't say let's get wasted. I think we're just like, let's go have some drinks. But of course, it always turns out to be, a little more than you had intended. So the bar is open till 4 a.m. And I think our flight was supposed to be at like 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. Okay. So it's a very early flight. We're supposed to fly out of the Bratislava airport. And then I remember the drink I was drinking because I don't usually drink this. I don't know why I was drinking this, but I was drinking gin and tonics. Yeah. I was drinking double gin and tonics. I remember this. And I don't know how many I had, but basically first it was just me and Kyle and the bartender, whatever. We're just chilling. And then, slowly people started coming in. I was talking to some like really nice Irish guys. It was kind of a sausage fest as well. So maybe I was, having a great time just surrounded by all these men, Anyways. And I remember, this is kind of like very dangerous. So I remember, I was like chilling with these really nice Irish guys, and we were chilling for a long time. And then this group of like Italian guys came in, and it was like a big group. There was probably like, I don't know, like 8 or 10 of them. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Anyways, we were drinking with them a little bit and we're just having a good time. And then I, again, don't remember a thing. The next thing I remember this is very fuzzy. I remember kind of like being on a bus, and then I remember being in an airport with Kyle like feeding me a sandwich. So there's a very big time gap of which I don't remember what happened. Yeah. So I don't remember how I got on this bus. I don't remember how I got into this airport. I have no idea how I got through security. Don't remember anything.
Yeah.
So to fill in the gaps, Of course, Kyle's telling me how I was like so wasted or whatever, but he's telling me that basically one of the Italian guys was trying to get into our room. So hostels, if you don't know, there's like multiple beds in a room. So we all like share this room, right? So everyone has their own bed. But obviously the Italian guys weren't sleeping in our dorm. But apparently one of them or a few of them were trying to get, so I basically like got way too drunk and then I went to the room and then Kyle took me to the room and then I like passed out because I was like drunk. But apparently one of the guys was trying to get into this room that I was in.
Oh God.
Do you remember the story?
Yeah. I think so vaguely.
Then,
like I don't remember the full story, but like that's kind of scary.
It was scary because when I heard about it, I was like, holy shit, like I don't remember anything. And thankfully Kyle was like, he locked the door and like, but apparently this guy was like banging on the door, trying to get into the store. And then like one of the Irish guys that was really nice, like I think we added each other on Facebook and he had messaged me being like, I hope you're okay. Like, and he told me that, he heard the Italian guys saying like just inappropriate things. And like, he was like, I felt like they were going to do some things. I hope you're okay. And I was like, holy shit.
Oh my God.
This is not a fun story.
Really
oh my gosh. It sounds, anyways.
No, that's really scary.
So yes, thankfully, Kyle and other people protected me. Holy shit, guys. So be careful. You just don't know. Anyways. So that happened. Anyways, I was so fucking wasted that I don't remember any of this.
Yeah.
And I don't remember getting into a bus. It must have been a fun time for Kyle to wake me up and get me on the bus. And then to the airport. And then I was literally still wasted when I arrived in Milan after the flight. I like passed out cold on the flight. I woke up when we landed and I was still drunk.
Oh my God, Rose. That's insane.
So ladies and gentlemen, please be careful, especially when you're traveling and you don't know who you're with. And oh God, it's just like, it's just all around bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, should we do a lighthearted one for you, Daniel?
Well, no, I was going to say that's a nice segue into the one I was about to say. Oh
God, is it going to be another dangerous one?
No, well, kind of.
All of these are
pretty
dangerous.
Yeah, it also involves flying. But basically, and this was also in the last year, which is really bad.
Oh my God, Daniel, are all these stories in the past year?
No. I don't think all of them are. But anyway, it was me and my friend were going to Valencia. And
Valencia is in Spain.
Our flight was up. Yeah. So, and our flight was on like Friday morning, and we both had our work Christmas parties on the Thursday night before the flight, which already is a recipe for disaster. But we were both like being responsible, and we're like, you know what? We're only going to have a few drinks at our Christmas parties, and then let's meet up at 10 o'clock and we'll go back to my place because I still had to pack.
Oh my God, Daniel.
To pack my stuff. And then we were going to catch this flight because I had booked like a bus for us early in the morning at like 2 a.m. We were going to catch this bus to get to like Stansted or wherever it was, or Luton. And so basically 10 o'clock comes around. We'd both been to our Christmas parties. I had more than a few drinks, but I wasn't like too drunk. And my friend wasn't too drunk either.
Oh, I'm very shocked.
And we said, I know. And I was like, and we're thinking, well, actually, we're both in a pretty good state. It's still quite early. Oh, like, let's just go and have one more drink at a bar somewhere, nearby. Yeah. So and we were excited because we were about to go on holiday and we're all like pumped up and whatever else.
Adrenaline is pumping.
And we're both like, exactly. And we're like, oh my God, we're both been like so responsible, like at our Christmas parties. So we ended up proceeding to drink at these other bars in London, a few others. And then I vaguely remember being on a bus because all the trains had stopped.
Wait a second. You can't go from you were not that drunk to now you vaguely remember. So how much did you drink at this other bar?
We had some, I'm pretty sure we had some shots.
I love how you're like, because we were like celebrating have like a couple of drinks and let's just do shots.
Yeah. And then I had maybe another couple drinks. And then I think I had more at my Christmas party, but it hadn't hit me yet.
Right. Okay.
So that all kind of factored in a little bit later. And then, so by the time we left the bar, it was like 2 a.m. So from 10 to 2, we were drinking. So I probably had like 7 drinks or something ridiculous.
God.
Yeah, it was bad. And then, all the tubes had stopped working because it was on a Thursday, so they weren't 24 hours. Right. So we hopped on a bus to get to my house. I don't really remember getting to my flat. I don't really remember packing.
Oh my God.
The next thing I know, I woke up on a plane just about to land to Valencia. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell happened?
You don't remember getting on the flight. You don't remember going into the airport, getting on the flight, going through security, all that stuff.
Nope.
Oh.
So I asked my friend, I was like, so what happened last night? And she was just like, well, we went to your house and packed your things. You were really fucked up.
Thank God your friend was okay.
I know. I mean, she was quite drunk too, but I don't think she was quite at my level. And she's like, Daniel, I had to really control you when we were going through security. Like, you were a hot mess. I was so, I'm shocked they let me through.
because like, don't they not let you fly if you're too drunk?
100%. They'll like turn you away.
How
so I'm
did
lucky
you
I even was able to get on the plane.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that somehow they didn't like know.
I know, but I had a really good sleep on the plane. I just remember waking up being like, I was still a bit drunk though as well. And I was like, oh God, like.
Oh my God, that's so, like how does this even happen? Like how do you, because obviously you black out like in terms of your memory. Like, so you clearly it's just the memory portion.
Exactly, it's only the memory part.
Yeah, because like you're still conscious and you're still moving around. But the next day after you sleep, you just forget the things that happened. That's crazy.
Exactly. I know. And the thing is, I think also too, when you're in that state, sometimes your body goes into survival mode. So like, for example, like if you are going through the airport and you subconsciously know you have to be on your best behavior,
right.
I feel like somehow, not everyone, but I feel like I'm good at this. Like one, I'm like a homing pigeon. I always find my way back to my accommodation
seriously, I don't know
or wherever
how.
else.
Like you, I have no idea. Okay, continue.
It's ridiculous. And I always seem to like, if I'm in that situation, most of the time, I can, even if I'm blackout drunk, I carry myself in such a manner, if it's like going through airport security or doing something like, I don't show it as easily, I guess.
You're just a seasoned veteran, you're just so used to drinking and getting yourself out of these situations. I mean, okay, before I tell my story, I'm just going to tell a little story that I remember of Daniel. So when I was living in London, and I think you were still living in Newcastle. No, you were still living in Newcastle, but you were visiting me in London this point. And I remember this one night, I can't remember why I didn't go out with you. Maybe you had some friends that you were going out with. So he was staying in my place and he was, sleeping beside me in my bed. But I was already home and I was sleeping and Daniel had gone out and getting drunk apparently. And at this time, and I don't even know if I gave you my address. I feel like you didn't have my address for some reason. I can't remember what happened.
But I'd been to your house once.
Yeah. Daniel's very, very good with directions, just random fact. He like somehow finds himself like the way wherever, like you go one place one time and you remember. I don't know how you do this, but somehow
I know it's crazy.
So this one time, this is like when I had first, I think like this was the first time you've been to my place. You were staying at my place. Yeah. I don't think I like gave you proper, instructions on how to get back and all this stuff. Anyways, he had gone out by himself. I was sleeping in my bed. And then someone just comes charging into my room in the middle of the night. And Daniel's like, oh my God, I lost someone stole my iPhone 4.
Oh my God.
Do you remember this story?
Yes.
Then,
oh God.
So this was a time when the running joke was that Daniel still had an iPhone 4. And this was, I can't remember, when iPhone, I don't know, whatever was out. It was like iPhone 4 was an old phone, right? So we were joking around, our friend group, we would just joke around how Daniel has an iPhone 4 still. And he came in and he was like, someone stole my iPhone. And I was like, in my half asleep mode, I was like, Daniel, no one stole your iPhone 4. And apparently, according to Daniel, someone knocked it out of his hand and then...
And threw it across the street.
He also could not stand your iPhone 4.
I know. He was like, what is this? Who has this phone
brick?
At this time?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyways, he somehow, got his phone, lost his phone, or got it stolen, supposedly. And then after that happened, that was why I was impressed, because you probably did have my address, but you didn't have your phone at this time.
Oh,
so
that's right.
That's why I was very impressed that you found my place, because you didn't have your phone and somehow you found your way home, even though you were wasted.
I know.
I just wanted to tell that story because I think it's funny.
It's a gift, honestly. It's like, were you not a little bit freaked out that some guy was just coming into your room? Like, were you not half asleep? Like, oh my God, what the hell's going on?
Not really, because I knew that you were out and I knew you were staying at my place. It's not like you just randomly came into my room.
But sometimes like if you're sleeping though, you can be disoriented.
Right.
I had just a quick digress, but I had a situation like when I was living in a shared house, and my friend had my flatmate had a bunch of her friends from Australia staying, and so I knew there was people in the house. I knew they were all going out and getting drunk. I got home from work. I was like, had my dinner, went to bed, and at about 2 a.m, I get woken up by some strange man opening my covers to come into my bed.
Okay, well
and so I freaked.
That's so scary.
So I freaked out and started screaming, and it turned out it was this guy that was staying with this, he was one of the girl's friends or whatever. And he was like so drunk, he just didn't know which room was which, and I ended up in my room. And I was like, get out.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that was fun.
Dude, that would freak me out.
Yeah, that was pretty scary. I guess because I didn't expect anyone to be in my room.
Yeah, totally. And it was like not like, yeah, totally. Anyways, so that was a little story about Daniel that I thought was funny. I'm trying to, okay, so what should I tell about me? Okay, so I got some notes here. None of them sound tame at all. Okay, so I guess I'll tell the story of when I was in Italy. So like I mentioned, my time in Italy, was, what you might call a giant blur.
Yeah, you were a wild rose.
I was a wild child in Italy. Now, again, not something I'm proud of. It is embarrassing. Some of the things that I have been through in Italy, let me just tell you the first story in Italy. I have a lot. So the first time, I remember this one time, I have not, I hope my parents are not listening to this because, you know what?
Do you think they're going to listen though?
I don't think so. But parents, if you are listening, I'm much older now. This was about 10 years ago, by the way. I was in Italy in 2010, and it's all in the past. And I have grown into a relatively more mature woman. Anyways, so when I had first arrived in Italy, so I lived in the dorm with a lot of other exchange students. So, as exchange students do, we like to drink, and we're all, new to this country, and, we're just having a good time. We're there to have a good time. So so in Milan, they had this thing, so they call them Erasmus students. So like international students are called Erasmus students. So we were Erasmus students, and they would have these like specials for Erasmus students on certain nights of the week in certain nightclubs. So Milan has a pretty good and lively, nightlife. So each day of the week, there was like some nightclub with some kind of special. And usually the special was 2 drinks plus entrance for only 10 euros. And in Milan, usually entrance to a club is like 20 euros, and I think you get like 1 drink.
What?
Yeah. So it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
So for us Erasmus students, if we show this card, we get that deal. So there was, I remember this club, it was called Old Fashioned Nightclub. I don't know if it still exists. This was like 10 years ago. And it was kind of like, it was a cool nightclub. There was like an outdoor area. I can't even talk. There was an outdoor area and like I can't remember exactly. I can't really remember. Was there an outdoor area? No, that was the different nightclub. Anyway, not important. So this Old Fashioned Nightclub was my favorite. And it was like in a forest, and you go into the, anyways, it was cool. So again, 10 euros for 2 drinks. And the drinks in the Milan nightclubs, you guys, are so strong. I have never seen people pour so much alcohol into a beverage. So my drink of choice was Long Island iced tea. The reason why is because they would just pour.
So dangerous.
Okay, like if people are watching in the video, they would literally just pour the majority of the cup with alcohol, and then it would be like a splash of Coke. Like it was like crazy. So but of course we got to get wasted. So before we left, we would always pre-drink at the dorm.
Of course.
So we'd pre-drink at the door. And then so we, and I remember that I had a little bit of a cold. So I think this affected me a little bit. So before, like a few hours before we started drinking, I took a little bit of a cold medicine. Maybe like a pill.
God.
I know, right? Okay. Another public service announcement. Do not take any medicine and then go heavy drinking. Okay.
Yeah,
be very careful. So I took this cold medicine, and then a few hours later, we started drinking in someone's like dorm room, and having a great time, all that stuff. And then we went to this club, and then I remember walking in, and I remember getting 1 Long Island iced tea, and then I remember this guy was talking to me, and then I blacked out, and I don't remember a thing. The moment I got in, I had 1 drink, and then I do not remember anything. I woke up in my bed.
Yeah.
Woke up in my bed, and I was like, oh God, I don't remember anything. And I thought, you know what? At least I got myself home. It's fine, whatever. But I don't remember what happened. Like, I don't remember at all. I completely blacked out. And then I was like, okay, it's fine. And then so this is like the beginning of the exchange. So nobody really knows each other very well.
Yeah.
Okay. So clearly I, decided to really make my reputation known. I was like, guys,
we're good at that,
yes,
Rose.
I'm very good at having a very good and clean reputation. So one of the people that I was friends with, I think they called me and she was like, do you know what happened last night? I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know. I just woke up in my bed. I don't remember anything. And she was like, I feel like you got drugged. And I was like, what? She's like, I think you got drugged because like you were like really, like you were basically passed out. She told me that I was passed out like on the ground. Like this is so bad.
In the bar.
I think we were outside. I think I somehow got outside and she basically thought I was drugged because she saw me with this other guy. Yeah. And I mean, to this day, I don't actually know, but I don't think so. I think I was already pretty fucking wasted before I got there. So
yeah, you were quite drunk.
So like, I don't think he drugged me, but anyway, who knows, right? And he wouldn't like drug me and then like leave, right? That doesn't make sense. Anyways, so, so apparently I was like passed out and then they had to call an ambulance and take me to the hospital. Oh God. This is so embarrassing. And then, so they like took me to the hospital, to this Italian motherfucking hospital. And and then I don't remember anything. And somehow I got home and I thought everything was perfectly fine.
Oh my God, Rose, that's so funny.
But
I mean,
that was a very bad
like,
experience. I just remember, like now I can laugh about it because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But at that time I was mortified. It was so bad. Like that's so embarrassing, passing out in the middle of the public, like in the street.
I know.
It's bad.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Now on to the next one, Daniel. What would you like to talk about?
Well, I'm going to talk about one. I'm going to leave some of the details out.
Oh, okay.
Because it happened in Montreal, but I don't want to divulge all the details.
Oh, we're talking about
I'm going to keep it.
Okay, I'll let you tell it. I'll let you tell it.
Yeah. Let me tell it because I'm going to leave out certain parts. Just for,
it's funny, you guys.
Certain sakes.
Because yesterday we were talking about doing this podcast and I was like, Daniel, should we tell the story about Montreal? And you're like, no. So I'm shocked that you want to tell it, but I will let you tell it in your own special way, Daniel.
Words. Yeah. Well, I do have a way with words,
You do.
So I'll just,
and this is a good story because it was you and I together.
It is. It was the two of us. So me and Rose decided, as we do, we were like, we want to go on a little holiday. Let's go to Montreal. I can't remember. No, you were going to that.
I was doing a French program for 5 weeks in Quebec, somewhere in Quebec province. So before
Katimavik or something.
It wasn't Katimavik. It was called My Explore. It's a Canadian government-run program where basically they send you to a certain university to learn French for 5 weeks. And because I already have experience with French, I decided to do that. And plus, it's just like a fun experience. Anyway, so before that, I decided, okay, we should all go to Montreal and then, have some fun there.
Yeah. So basically I was like, cool, great. I flew out and I met Rose it was like on a Tuesday. So we get there on a Tuesday night and we're like, you know what? This isn't Calgary. We're in Montreal. They've got a big nightlife here. Like there is going to be stuff going down every night of the week. And we were like super, super young as well. So we're like, let's go ask the lady that works at the hotel, like where to go tonight. Because we have no idea. Right. So we go down there and we're like, so we're really, we want to go out tonight, have a good night. Where would you recommend? And she's like, oh, you should definitely check out this nightclub. It was called like Foufou Electronique or something.
Foufou Electrique, I think.
Electrique, yeah, something like this. And I was like, so, I don't even know if it's still around, but Foufou. And we were like, she was like, yeah, there's like multiple levels and like they're all playing different types of music. There's like hip hop and R&B and pop music. And me and Rose were both just like, oh, that's amazing. Let's go. Done.
And we dressed up to the nines, didn't we, Daniel?
Yeah, we dressed up. Like Rose was wearing her like beautiful floral dress. I was wearing like a dress shirt. We like looked good to go out. And pretty sure we like also polished off a bottle of wine before we left the house or something.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get the juices flowing.
Get the juices flowing.
So we show up at this club, Foufou Electrique, Foufou. And we get there. And little did we know that first of all, it was like the only place that was open on the Tuesday. Cause remember we walked there from the train station and it was like, it was like raining and a lot of places were closed. Nowhere was like bumping. So we finally get to this place and we're like, hey, we have no other options. We have to go here. We get in and it's like heavy metal night. Like
everything.
We go
there
through
were
the main
no
door.
multiple rooms. It was all heavy metal.
Exactly. There was like, at one point there was like a huge mosh pit of people like headbanging and stuff. And me and Rose were like dressed up to go for like a nice night out.
We thought we were going to a club.
Yeah.
Like a hip hop club or something.
Exactly. And we like walk in and everyone like stares at us because they're all like in like metal t-shirts and like all this stuff. And me and Rose were just like, what did we walk into? We're like, let's just go to the bar. We'll have a drink and then we'll go. So we get to the bar and little did we know that they had a very, very good drink special on that evening. It was, I think,
$5.
It was like $5 for a massive pitcher of beer.
Oh God.
So we're like, we'll take two, one each. As you do.
As we do.
So I just remember we started drinking more. And then I remember at one point we were in like the, like kind of like just in the outdoor area. Like there was like a little terrace or whatever. And I looked over and you were chatting with some people and I was chatting with some people. And I just remember being like, what are we doing?
We were like separate.
We
were on the other side of each other's, like you were in one side of the terrace and I was on the other side. And I remember us like waving at each other.
Yeah.
We were just socializing with all these different people. I remember talking politics.
Exactly.
It was funny.
Oh yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was an interesting night. And then I just remember I like very much like blacked out.
Did you actually black out that night?
Yeah, I don't really remember the taxi ride home, if I'm honest. So then we had at the end of the night.
Anyway, we're taking here's the thing. At the end of the night, I was like relatively okay. Like I was drunk, but I was like, coherent. Yeah. And Daniel was very, very drunk. Yes. So I was like, Daniel, we need to leave.
Yeah.
So we hailed a cab.
No, I don't want to go.
And then what happened, Daniel? We hailed a cab, and then what happened?
So then we hailed a cab, and some random guy jumped in the taxi with us because I think I had told him that we were going to an after party or doing something. Yeah. I don't really know, but anyway, so he jumps in the taxi with us, and we all go back to our hotel, which was like really far out of Montreal. It was like in a place called... It wasn't
really far, but it was like slightly out of Montreal. So it was like on the outskirts.
Yeah. So anyway, this guy jumps in the taxi. We get back and I literally just pass out and leave poor Rose to deal with this guy to kick him out of the...
This guy, first of all, he, like, I had not spoken to, I think like Daniel and him were just talking, whatever. And like he was making friends or whatever. And I had not spoken to this guy yet because we were all kind of doing our own thing apparently during this night. So I was talking to some other people and then Daniel was talking to some other people. And then this guy, I guess, was one of the guys that Daniel was talking to. And then he just decided to jump into a cab with us because maybe he thought there was an after party. And then he got into this cab and then he started like hitting on me. And I was like, what is happening? And then Daniel was just wasted that he did not even realize what was happening.
Yeah, I was just
so then drunk. We got to our hotel, and then what happened, Daniel? You passed out.
And then I basically just passed out of my bed, and Rose had to kick this guy out, and he didn't want to leave.
He did not want to leave. He just wanted to stay. He's like, can I just sleep here? I was like, no.
Yeah, he's like, can I just sleep in this room? We're like, Rose is like, we don't know. Like, I don't know you. Like, you need to leave.
And he was being creepy. So I was like, I'm not going to let you sleep in this room when you're being creepy.
Exactly. So anyway, poor Rose had to kick this guy out. So anyway, he left.
It took like an hour to kick this guy out while Daniel was sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Rose is like, oh, finally, I can go to bed, relax. So Rose lays down. And all of a sudden, maybe like an hour later, I don't know how long, but it was in the middle of the night. All of a sudden, Rose is awakened to the sounds of what sounds like some kind of seal noises or something coming from the room. And as these noises are projecting, Rose is just like, what the hell is going on? She looks over, and I'm not on my bed. Somehow, I had rolled off the bed, got myself tangled in my blanket, was face down on the floor, dry heaving. And I was stuck in my blanket. I was like wedged in my blanket. Like I couldn't move.
This does not get old.
And I know. And I remember just being stuck. And my face was literally like, I was like face down on the floor. And I was like rolled up like a little sardine or something. And I was going,
do you remember this?
Yeah. Well, and then Rose was like, Daniel, if you're going to be sick, you need to go to the bathroom. Like, and I was like, oh, God.
Oh,
you're like,
my
no,
God.
Daniel, seriously. It was, and I was so hungover the next day. Do you
Yes,
remember?
and we were like doing a tour of Montreal, and Daniel was so hungover. I remember we went to this tea house.
Just like,
it was like a very nice kind of Chinese or Japanese tea house, and Daniel's like, I have to run to the bathroom, and he projectile vomited in the Chinese tea house.
Yeah, I literally I threw up in more bathrooms in Montreal than I could probably count on my hand that day.
Anyways, oh my God, that story never gets old. I swear to God, that night is forever imprinted in our memory.
That was a good one. That was
God,
a really good one.
you know what? I'm so glad you told that one.
I had to. I feel like I had
Oh
to.
God. Okay, what's next? Is it my turn for my story? Oh, I feel like my stories are all really like bad because they're just so dangerous.
Well, they're all like, pretty dangerous. Mine's pretty dangerous as well.
I mean, yeah, but like mine just sounds worse. God, mine. I had some major issues. Holy, this is making me like rethink my my life.
Life choices.
Yeah, my life choices.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of emergency rooms. I've frequented many emergency rooms in my life. Okay.
God, Rose, that is scary.
So it is really scary. So this is another Italy and emergency room type of story. So, okay. Yeah. So another little note here, guys. When you drink, try to drink with people that you trust and are very close with. Especially if you're trying 100%. To get like hammered or whatever, because it's not a good idea to get very drunk with people that you don't really know. So
exactly, because they're not going to care about you.
Exactly.
Really. They're just going to be
and
like,
this story is like totally that. So when I was in Italy, I had some really close friends there, and but a lot of them. So this was at the end of my exchange now. So at the end of my exchange, a lot of people had already left, and it was just a few people that were still in the dorm. So I think most of my good friends had left, but I still wanted to go out and like have fun. So I was hanging out with some people that I didn't really know very well. Like, of course I knew of them, and like we've exchanged pleasantries, if you will, but we didn't really know each other very well. Yeah. And I remember this one time we all, a bunch of us went out to a club. I think it was the same club actually. And I think I got,
God,
again,
you in this club, Rose.
And I don't really, again, I got like super drunk with these people, and I'm a pretty social person. And I think I feel like you and I both, like, we just get so excited when we're like, socializing and drinking that we just don't know when to stop. So we just keep drinking and drinking. And then, and then again, I blacked out. Don't remember a thing. The next thing I know,
oh God.
The next thing I know, I
what
wake
happens,
up,
Rose?
I wake up, I open my eyes, and I'm not in my room. Okay. I wake up, I open my eyes, and I realize I hear all these noises, right? So I'm clearly not in my room. I hear sounds happening around me. It sounds like a hospital.
Yeah.
And I freak out internally. I am like, oh my God, where am I? I start like slowly trying to look around, and I realize I am in an Italian hospital on a rolly bed. You know those hospital rolly beds? I was in the hallway. I guess they didn't have a room for me. I was in the hallway of this hospital, like where people were just like walking, like all over the place, like getting shit done.
Yeah. And there's me passed out on the bed
with all of my makeup on from last night on this rolly bed in the middle of this Italian hospital. So I'm like freaking out.
Oh my God.
And I think I like had my phone with me. So I think the first thing I did, because I was so embarrassed to get up. So first thing I did was I called Kyle. Yeah. I called Kyle and I was like, oh my God, Kyle, I'm in a hospital. and I was alone. I had no one around me. This is what I'm saying. Like you gotta be with people that you trust. Cause like, I don't know what happened.
100%. Yeah.
So I literally, to this day, I don't know what happened that night. I don't know who put me there. I don't know who called the ambulance or whatever. Anyways, I pick up the phone. I call Kyle, and I was like freaking out. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't know where I am. I didn't know what hospital this was. I had no idea what I was doing. And he was like, oh my God, you just need to like get out and find the closest like metro stop.
Metro station. Yeah.
So I remember I got up. I was so embarrassed. And I saw there was like a doctor and a nurse in like some room. And I went up to them, and in my broken Italian, I was like, dove metro? That means like, where's the metro? I was like, dove metro? Or something like that.
They were probably, they were probably thinking this psycho chick literally just crawled out of the wheelie bed and is like, where's the metro?
And then like, I don't know, this Italian lady was like explaining something and I just like bolted out of there as fast as I could because I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my God, fuck my actual life. And that was my second experience in an emergency room in Italy.
Oh God, bro.
To this day, I don't know what happened. God. Don't remember anything.
Yeah. That is actually really bad. Like that, I think that story, those two stories about you ending up in the hospital, or like not ending up, but like the first one, your friends taking you, bringing you back, and then that one waking up, like that is terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm so shocked that I did not get like severe alcohol poisoning.
You probably did have it to some degree.
Yeah. Oh God, seriously, this is so this is really making me question my life choices. I don't know if this episode was a good idea.
I know. It's like, and then it's funny because we were saying if we get to a certain number of Patreons, we want to
do a drunk episode.
We want to do a drunken episode. God,
but now I can somehow handle my alcohol much better. You know what? Yeah. It's shocking to me though that after all these traumatic and embarrassing experiences that we didn't get traumatized enough to stop drinking.
This is true. It's bad. It's addictive. That's why.
Oh, goddamn, we'd be addicted.
So,
okay, Daniel, what's next for you, Daniel?
I'm trying to think what other story I want to tell. I do have one. I had another one. Well, it's not really a long story, but basically I went out for it was like a Day of the Dead party. Yeah. And it was me and one of my friends. And it was like my last little stint in London. So we were like getting really excited and like being like, oh, well, not excited, but like sad. Like we're not going to see each other for a while. And
so this was again very recent.
Yeah, very recent. This is so bad. Oh my God. People listening are going to think I'm crazy.
Oh my God. This is so crazy how like my stories are like 10 years ago, but they're like so severe. But like your stories are recent, but they're like less severe, but they're still severe. Continue.
Yeah. But to be fair, like thinking back like a long, long time ago, like I do have stories from drinking when I was younger as well. But like none of mine were like, I never like, I don't know.
I do feel like London brings out the alcoholic in you. It is like a breeding ground. Is it called a breeding ground for whatever it's called for like, alcohol issues?
Yeah, exactly. They just fester there. I think it's like the city itself. Like we'll do another episode on like life in big cities, obviously, like we talked about. But there's something about living in London that it does. I don't know what it is about that city. And for people like me that already like
have issues,
can't say no to drinking. Yes. Yeah. Well, thanks, Rose.
Hey, I just talked about all my issues. Okay.
That's true. I'm just like, I can never say no. Like if someone's like, oh, let's go for a drink. I'm like, yes, let's do it. And it's never one. It's like, I'll keep drinking.
Right.
So like, yeah, it's bad. But yeah, so it was like so me and my friend get all dressed up. We're doing this Day of the Dead party. And then we're drinking. And then I remember being in the nightclub and then I met these two people and we like left. They were going to like a house party or they were going to their house or something. I left with them. The one guy was like pretty attractive and he turned out to be gay. And I was like, oh, maybe something's going to happen here. I don't know. And then I like blacked out.
Oh God.
And the next thing I know, I woke up. This is so bad. So I woke up. It was really weird. It was like a kitchen, but in the kitchen there was like, they had like this area that would have had like a dining table and stuff, but instead they had like a futon there.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, the futon was pulled out. I was in a sheet, completely butt naked.
Not even underwear.
And I was like, no, nothing. And it was like 1 p.m.
Wait, whose house is this?
It was the people's house that I went to after. I had no idea. But like, I was like, it was in some area of London I've never been before. I didn't even know how to get back. It was just
where were your clothes?
Horrendous. And they were strung up next to the couch next to me. Like they were on the couch. Thank God.
Was there anyone in the room with you?
For them. No, I was by myself, which was kind of good. But then someone came down later. It was like one of the people that lived in the house because it was like a flat share as well.
Oh,
like how freaking awkward. Yeah. Imagine you're sharing a flat and you go downstairs
and there's
to like
a naked
cook or whatever.
Man
and
in a futon.
Yeah. Like I had a thin sheet over me.
Thank God.
So
can you imagine if you were just like, there was no sheet and you're just laying there naked?
Oh God. I would have died. I would have actually died. And yeah, so I had to like throw my clothes on and do this walk of shame. And it was like super far from my house.
Oh God.
It took me like an hour and a half to get home.
Oh no. That is like a very long walk of shame.
And I was like dying. Yeah. And you know what the tube is like? It's like hot and sticky. And I just felt like I was going to throw up. And it was just,
Oh, God. And this was a few months ago. Congratulations. Just to keep reminding our viewers or our listeners.
Why?
Oh God. Well, you know what? I'll make you feel a little better by telling the story of the first time I met Daniel's parents.
Oh, yeah.
So when we were,
so
how old were we? 19, 20? Around 20?
I think we were, I think we were like maybe
so
20.
Daniel and I, again, we like our beverage and we like to drink together.
Yeah.
So this one time, it was during Christmas time back, when we were 20 years old, and I think we just finished exams or something like that because it was during Christmas time. Yeah. So there was a big party, this big house party that Daniel got invited to. And then he very graciously invited me, this crazy ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
And they were doing this thing called, what was it called, Daniel? Chinese gift exchange. Chinese liquor exchange. Yeah. So apparently what you do is everyone brings like a bottle of, this is like so dangerous. Everyone brings everyone brings a bottle of alcohol. Oh, do they call it a 2-6 in America? I don't think so.
No,
so
a 2-6. I think this is a very Canadian
so
thing.
In Canada, we call these like bottles of liquor a 2-6. So I think it's because what is 26 ounces or something? I don't know.
So like 750 mils.
So whatever, so we just call it a 2-6. I don't know why we call it like that. But anyways, so everyone was supposed to bring like a 2-6 of alcohol, right? So everyone can bring like vodka or tequila or whatever they want. Already very dangerous because like each person bringing a bottle of alcohol is like quite dangerous. And so we all brought one, and then you're supposed to like, I don't know, put it in the middle, and then you like, you draw a number, and then like whoever, like you're supposed to take turns like picking one, right?
Yeah, and then you can also
so it's kind of like White Elephant,
for example,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly like White Elephant, but with liquor.
Right. So they did that, and were we a little bit late, Daniel? Like, did we get in late?
Well, this is the thing. Because I actually had an exam that day because it was the last day of exams. So most people had finished exams, but unfortunately, I had the worst exam schedule. And I remember I had one of the late exams. It was like at 7. Like sometimes they had the exams at like 7 o'clock at night till 9. So I had that exam. So at 9 o'clock, I finished my exam. Then I met up with you and I think Vanessa as well.
Yes.
And then we went to the party. So by the time we got to this house party, everyone had already like been drinking. They've done the liquor exchange pretty much. Like everyone was well on their way.
Right. So then me and Daniel, of course, naturally, were like, we got to catch up. Let's do shots.
Exactly. As you do.
So we started doing shots and we got absolutely hammered. And then, of course, I was having a great time, I was socializing once again, just, in my element, having a great time. But once again, I had a few too many. And then I don't remember a thing. And the next thing I know, I wake up and I feel like I was in some sort of a basement.
You were, yeah. Because so in
no, wait. I need to tell this first. I'll tell my side first, and then you explain and you fill the gaps. Okay. So I wake up, and I wake up in this house, right? So my first initial reaction was that, I'm still in the same house because it was a house party. So I thought, oh my God, I'm still I'm still disorientated. I'm still drunk. And I think, I'm still in this house, but it was empty. There was nobody else there. And I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't see Daniel. I was like, what is happening? Like, is this the same house? I was so confused. And I was just kind of walking around. I couldn't find my phone. I don't know why I did this, but I opened like one of the doors to like what looked like a bedroom. And again, still did not clue in that. Anyways, I still thought it was the same house. So I opened this bedroom door and I see I think I knew it was you sleeping there, but I wasn't sure. So Daniel's sleeping in this bed, in this bedroom. And then I see a phone and I thought it was my phone or something. So I picked it up and then I left the bedroom and then I went upstairs into like the main floor. And then I saw a couch and I just passed out on this couch and I fell asleep. Now, Daniel, you tell your version of this story.
Okay. So basically what had happened is, so I think it was me and Vanessa, we brought you back from that party because you were so drunk. So we're like, hey, we need to, I don't know why we went back to my house, but we were like, whatever, you'll just stay the night at my house and then tomorrow go home or whatever. So we get to my house and I realized that I didn't have my house key. And it was like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I was like, shoot, I don't have my house key. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get in my house. So I was like banging on my door. My mom is the one my mom's the one that answered the door. So, and my mom's like a tiny little woman. She's like 5'3" or something ridiculous. So she opens the door and I don't know how this happened, but I think like maybe Rose, you lost your balance or something.
I mean, I was completely passed out cold, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I think me and Vanessa,
you were like carrying me.
It was kind of
I
our
was
fault.
Dead weight.
we were like carrying you, and then I think somehow we kind of like tripped up because I was also really drunk, and then we kind of like dropped you onto my mom. So my mom like opened the door, and as she's opening it, Rose kind of like falls, and it was almost like a movie because I remember my mom caught you and then slowly like lowered you down to the ground until you were like on the ground, and then my mom was like looked at me with fury and was like, "What the hell is going on?" And I was like, I'm so drunk, and I was like, "Mom, don't worry about it. This is my friend Rose, who she'd never met before." And I was like, she's just going to stay in the spare room. My mom's like, "Okay, you sort this out. Like, I'm going back to bed." I was like, "Yep." So me and Vanessa like take Rose downstairs into my basement because we have like a little basement area, and the spare room's right next to my bedroom. So I was like, if Rose wakes up, she can like come and talk to me or whatever else. So we put her into my spare room. Anyway, think that's the end of it. And then Vanessa leaves, whatever. And then I go to bed. I don't even know if Vanessa was there. Maybe she wasn't. Anyway.
I think she helped carry me.
And
I'm pretty sure she was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And then I went to bed. The next thing I know, I hear a knock on my door, and it's my dad. And my dad's like, Daniel, can you explain why there's a random Korean girl or Asian girl on our couch, just like sleeping? And I was like, because I guess and I was like, "Oh, Dad, I'm sorry. Like, this is, we had been out drinking or whatever." And my dad's like, "It's fine." But I guess what had happened is my dad had got up in the morning, and when he walked to go have his shower, because to where the bathroom was, you passed the living room. There was no one in the living room. So he went and had a shower. So he's having his shower, like chilling. And then I guess that's the same time that Rose had grabbed my phone and gone upstairs.
I still don't know why I grabbed your phone.
On the couch. I don't know. And then so my dad left, had his shower, leaves the bathroom, walks past, and as he's like walking past the living room, now there's someone asleep on the couch. So he freaked out because it's like no one was there before, and he's like, "Whoa!" like freaking out. And yeah, that was the story of how Rose first met my parents.
Oh God, and I was mortified, and then his dad drove me home.
Oh yeah, that's right.
God,
I was going to drive Rose home, but my dad was like,
I think you had to go to work.
My dad was like, "No, I did have to go to work." So my dad dropped me off at work, and he dropped you off at home.
I was so awkward. Oh God, that's so embarrassing. What is wrong with me?
It's so funny.
I'm really just, ashamed.
We've all been there. Honestly, we have. I bet you everyone, I'm sure everyone listening has had their
story time is literally taking so long because we have so many stories.
Oh God, damn.
Okay, Daniel, what's next for you?
Do you think we should save some?
Should we save some? Because I feel like we should do one for the patrons. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I
think
so as
Part 2 will
well.
be on Patreon.
Yeah, part 2 of, because we've already been on here for like an hour.
Yeah, so I feel like this is getting way too long. So I think next Drunken Story next Patreon episode will be Drunken Stories Part 2.
Part 2, yeah. Well, we'll get into some other scandalous,
my final
juicy
one
ones.
is so bad. You know which one I'm talking about, okay?
Yeah. I've got some juicy ones too. I might divulge some very, very, I might be very raw with the Patreon episode.
Yeah, for the Patreon, we feel like, because obviously not everyone listens to it. It's not like out into the internet.
Exactly.
We kind of become more, I don't know, like
open and free.
Yes, which is maybe not so good.
So,
all right. Yeah. So let's do the second one for the Patreon.
Definitely.
Because I feel like I've been talking so long and I'm starting to really question my life at this point. This is making me very depressed.
My throat's feeling a bit sore as well.
Oh, God damn it. I need to eat lunch.
All the talking.
Oh, God. We've been talking all morning.
Oh, God damn. Okay. Well, I think that concludes Drunken Stories Part 1.
I'm sure Daniel will have more for us from his recent time in Spain.
Oh, I definitely will. I can, by the time we do Drunken Stories Part 2, I'll probably have a really juicy one from Spain, because I feel like I've been pretty well behaved here to the most part, but things can change.
Yes, you need to let loose a little bit and give us some more stories, some juicy stories.
Oh, God damn.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you for listening to our degenerate stories. Mm-hmm. I hope you enjoyed.
And as a little disclaimer, again, we're not trying to advocate for drinking. I think honestly, people should drink responsibly. This is just our reflection on our past life.
We can laugh at this now.
Exactly. But again, a lot of these situations are
very dangerous.
We're very dangerous and not anything that we would recommend for people to do. So
yes, please,
just take it with a little pinch of salt and
responsibly.
Exactly. And just take it with a pinch of salt and have a little laugh about our stories and our little situations that we got into.
I feel like, honestly, if anything, this is definitely a public service announcement for anti-binge drinking because none of these stories sound good. They're all really embarrassing.
No.
Trust me when I say that you do not want to put yourself in these situations, as much as we can laugh about it now, but it's so embarrassing. Like,
It is. It's not something that you want. Like, waking up on somebody's futon, butt naked under a sheet,
or waking up in the middle of an emergency room.
Exactly. It's just not a great way to wake up, actually.
No, it's not a great way to wake up. Anyways, well, that was a very different episode from the New Year's motivation episode that we did. So at least, even though we've been through our degenerate behaviors, and some of us are still going through the degenerate behaviors.
Me.
Even though that's the case, we can still, we're still doing relatively okay for ourselves.
I think so. We're trying. It's all about balance, right? Like we said before.
The yin and the yang.
Right? The yin and the yang.
All right, you guys. So that's pretty much it. Don't forget to check us out on Patreon. Again, this part 2 for this will be on Patreon. So if you support us on there, you'll get bonus episodes and you'll get the episodes early and all of that good stuff. You get more of a one-on-one interaction with us. So it's a fun time.
Yeah.
So join us there. You can also follow us on Instagram. You can also follow us on YouTube. Just search The SaVeg Podcast. If you go on our Instagram page, The SaVeg Podcast, you will find the links to all of our socials.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thanks so much, guys. And have a good week.
Have a good week. Drink responsibly.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, drink responsibly.